Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Building You podcast. This week has been a whirlwind. I was panicking a little bit because I was looking at my notepad and all the things that I've banked to talk about on this podcast. While I still back up all of the things that I've written, I wasn't resonating with any of them really for today. I just wasn't feeling inspired about talking about any of them today specifically, so maybe they'll pop up in the future, or maybe they'll be revised. We shall see. So over the course of the last week in working with clients, I've heard the term health popping up quite a lot in our conversations, whether it's that they're feeling healthier or they're looking forward to feeling healthier or health, whatever. And I kind of got to thinking, health is such a broad term and it could mean something different to everybody, whether it's hashtag healthy living or an influencer online telling you to live a healthy lifestyle or someone telling you to eat more avocados to be healthy. What even is health? What does health mean to them? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to me? So what is health? Let's get into it in this week's episode of Building You. Intro break. I'm playing around with where I'm going to put my intro. Do we like it in the beginning? Do we just want an outro? Who knows? It's going to keep changing until I am satisfied. But I am sitting here with my laptop in front of me and my cup of tea. We're not in the car this week, which I'm very thankful for because it is cold outside. I'm in my nice, cozy, warm apartment. So yeah, if you're not watching this, I'm holding my cup of tea in front of my face. It's kind of as a prop right now because I'm a little baby and it's too hot. It's too hot for me to sip. It's like I don't even know why I bothered boiling the water because I'll just wait for it to become warm so I can drink it. But I have my cup of tea and I'm ready to chat. This is my favorite mug. It says, I'd like to remain optimistic, and I would. So I resonate. So anyways, grab a cup of tea or coffee or snack or nothing if you're not hungry or thirsty because we're about to get into it. This week we're talking about health and what the heck that even means. When I first decided I was going to talk about this, I went into Google Chrome and I typed. I said, what is the definition of health? And the first definition that comes up is a state of being free from illness or injury, which makes sense when you look at somebody that has a broken leg. They're obviously not at their optimal health, but that doesn't mean that if you look at somebody who isn't in a hospital bed that they are healthy by your terms or even by their terms. So what even is health? Is it the distinction as to whether or not I am in physical or mental pain? So when I typed into Google Chrome, what is health? The first definition that came up is the state of being free from illness or injury. I did a little bit more digging and I found that the government of Canada defines health as the following. Health means not only the absence of disease or injury, but also physical, mental, and social well-being. And I think that I like that definition a little bit more because I think that it involves more than just injured or not injured or ill or not ill. In brainstorming this episode, I had to look in at myself and ask myself what my definition of health is. What does it mean to me? Why do I care? Why do I think it's important? So while you're here with me, I want you to think of these things too. What does health mean to you? Do you fit into your definition of health? Word health or healthy is an extremely loaded word to me, which is why we're here talking about it. I think everybody has a different definition of what healthy really is. I think that you can look at it from a shallow viewpoint of ill or not ill, of hurt or not hurt, whether or not I eat a salad for lunch. And so I did a little bit of digging into my own brain and I kind of came up with what health means to me. Before we jump into this though, I do just want to disclaim that I personally am not physically or mentally disabled. I don't suffer from any illness, chronic illness, or any chronic pain. And so my definition of health may look a little bit different than any viewers or listeners who may suffer from such. Here's what I picture when I think of the word health. I think of feeling good in my body, physically and mentally. Not necessarily just from a physique standpoint. I mean, we all want to feel confident in our body, right? We all want to feel and look good to whatever our standard is, but I just mean feeling good. Like I don't want to feel inflamed or bloated. I don't want to feel sluggish, even though those things kind of do come and go in waves and we are not in one state at all times. I think that's a good thing to recognize too. Just because you're having a day where you're bloated or a day where you're swelling a little bit or just not feeling 100%, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhealthy. But I want to make sure that 90% of the time I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good in my body. When I think of health, I think of moving pain-free in my body. And again, that is a privilege. Who knows, maybe somewhere along the line, I will end up with some health complications, maybe arthritis, something along those lines, or something more severe, in which case that's kind of out of my control. And I might not be able to move as pain-free, but I want to make sure that I'm doing everything to the best of my ability to prevent that, making sure that I'm in a healthy weight range for my frame, making sure that I'm eating good things for my joint health, I'm moving well, I'm keeping my heart healthy. I just want to make sure that moving never becomes painful, at least within the things that I can control. I want to feel organized. This kind of leans more into the mental state. I want to feel like I know what's happening. And again, this will come and go in waves. I get overwhelmed sometimes. I put too much on my plate sometimes. But I want to make sure that I am setting myself up with the skills and the confidence to know what is happening with me at all times, what's going on with my schedule, with my clients, at work, in my family. I want to know what's up. I want to feel organized. I want to feel on top of it. Don't want to sink into a spiral of always feeling behind. When I think of health, I think of feeling fulfilled and feeling purposeful, whether that's in my work, whether that's in my family dynamic, in my social circles. I want to make sure that I am doing things with my time that make me feel fulfilled, that make me feel purposeful, because I think that when you're losing those things, when you're lacking that fulfillment, when you're lacking that feeling of purpose and belonging, that it starts to trickle into other things. And I don't even want to go there. When I think of health, I think of feeling confident in my body's ability. And while that may sound close to the first one, I mean something completely different. I mean that if I need to run for my life or after a child that is running into the street, I want to make sure I can run. I can run. And if I fall and need to pull myself up, I want to make sure I can pull myself up. If I ever end up in a situation where I'm in a large body of water, I want to make sure that I can swim for long enough that I can reach safety. I could go on and on with a bunch of horrid examples, but you get the point. I want to make sure that I can fend for myself and I feel confident that I can do these things. I don't want to end up in a situation that, God forbid, is life or death and be like, I physically cannot get myself out of this. That scares me. I think that another huge part of health is just surrounding yourself with good people, good influences, and healthy relationships. I think that if you're in poor relationships or in poor environment, whether that's a romantic relationship or your family dynamic or friendships or a workplace, whatever it may be, I think if it has negative influences on you, if there's individuals that are kind of coaxing you to do bad things or just stressing you out to the point where you are relying on not the best coping mechanisms just to stay on track, I think that that's going to trickle into your physical and mental well-being, take you down on the overall health score. When I picture health, I picture self-connection, being connected with myself and who I am and knowing who I am. And if maybe I'm going through an awkward transition stage where I'm growing and I don't know who I am, I'm going to take the time to address who I am, address what is changing, and really get to know that new version of me. Because I think that there's a lot of problems that can come out of us not really understanding who we are and what we want and how we function. We try to be something that we're not without fully addressing what we are or where we're going. And I think self-connection is really, really important for at least your mental well-being. Lastly, when I picture health, I picture freedom as I age. Now, again, like I stated before, some things are out of our control. We might end up falling ill eventually from something that is completely unpreventable. We might end up being in accidents or I don't know, that's sad. We're not going to go too deep into that, but some things are not in our control. However, assuming that nothing tragic happens in my lifetime, I want to make sure that I am maintaining my freedom and movement as I age. I want to make sure that when I'm 70, I can still get something out of the top shelf. I can still go up and down the stairs in my home. Hopefully by the time I'm 70, I have a house. But in any context, I want to make sure that as I age and go through my later stages in life, that I'm able to do things for myself and I don't need to rely on all the people around me. I hope that I do have people around me that I can rely on, because I'm sure that I will need help with some things. However, I don't want to be so immobile that I can't do my day-to-day tasks by myself within my control. I want to, if I have grandchildren, I want to be a huge part of their lives, and kids move around a lot. So I want to be able to at least kind of keep up with them. I want to make sure that I can walk with my kids in their adult life. I want to make sure that I can move enough that maybe when I'm retired, if I retire, I can join a walking club. These are all really long-term goals, but I want to make sure that I have the physical ability to do them if I want to. Those are just kind of the images and the things that I picture when I picture health. Just freedom and movement and living pain-free and surrounding myself with good people. Those are just kind of the things that I picture when I think of health. So let's dive into the pillars of health and how they're defined and see how we can better ourselves in each of these stages. So health is categorized into 3 pillars. We have physical health, mental health, and social health. Each of these is broken down into multiple points. So I hope you grabbed that cup of coffee, because we're going to get into it. Physical health is separated into nutrition, physical activity, and sleep. These 3 topics are constantly in my brain because I'm a personal trainer. So I'm constantly making sure that my clients are eating healthy and they're sleeping enough and they're moving enough. That's my whole thing. When it comes to nutrition, I kind of talked about this in episode 1, and it is something that I truly believe. You are what you eat, and that's not necessarily always reflected on you physically. There's a lot of people that I have known that if you look at them, they look healthy by our twisted definition of health. They aren't obese. They seem to move well. They seem fit. However, they eat so poorly. And I'm not saying cheat meals. I'm saying literally every meal is a cheat meal. Every meal is processed. Every meal, every dinner, they're eating late at night. They're skipping meals, replacing it with iced coffee. It's all over the place. What you eat doesn't always reflect on you physically. That depends on genetics to a certain point, and also our age and where our metabolism is at. But what you eat directly impacts how you feel, how you move, how you function. Because, I mean, think about it. Your brain is eating that food too. Now, I'm not a certified nutritionist, so I don't want to hop on here with too much advice. However, I will say that there is tons of research and evidence on the ingredients in some of our foods that are served to us every single day, that are linked to countless illnesses, countless health complications, and we don't even know. I went to the grocery store a couple weeks ago. I was feeling really, really lazy, and I just wanted to make pasta. And I went through the pasta aisle to pick up just a pre-made sauce, just a sauce in a jar. And I was looking for a white sauce because I love a good white sauce, a little fettuccine Alfredo action. That's my jam. But something told me, it was like a little whisper in my ears, check the ingredients. So I did. And lo and behold, there was like 30 things on the back of the jar that I could not even pronounce. Now, I know how to cook, okay? My mama taught me how to cook. And so I know that making a white sauce is not that hard. I know that there's like 5 ingredients in a white sauce, whether that's bechamel or an Alfredo sauce, whatever it is. It doesn't take much. Where are these other 30 ingredients coming from? Why do we need them? It's all preservatives. It's all I don't even know what, but I know that it's probably unnecessary. And I was like, I know I'm feeling lazy, but I just can't knowingly eat that. I can't, especially because I knew that sitting in my fridge at home was butter and cream, and I had flour in my cupboard, and I have like so many cloves of garlic ready for me to rumble. So I was like, just make it myself. And I went home and I made the pasta sauce in like 10 minutes, and it had like 6 ingredients in it. That's just kind of a side story. I do the same with whipped cream. Whenever I want whipped cream, I simply whip the cream. I go and I get heavy whipping cream and I whip cream. Couldn't believe how many ingredients are on the back of a canister of whipped cream. It's nuts. All you need is cream. These are just some examples. These are things that you might be eating every day. You might think are healthy. I mean, I went to the salad section and I was going to get one of those pre-made Caesar salads. Again, I was feeling lazy. I don't need to. I'll explain myself. I was feeling lazy, okay? And I wanted to just get a pre-made Caesar salad kit. So I read the ingredients, and why is there, again, like 30 different things in the sauce that I don't know how to pronounce and I've never heard of in my life? That's not cool. So what do you think that you're eating when you go to a restaurant and you think you're ordering something a little bit health conscious, like you're ordering a Cobb salad with grilled chicken, or you're ordering a burger that has a lot of greens on it, or whatever it may be? They're filling it with stuff that you don't know. They're filling it with stuff that you don't know. What do you think you're eating every time you eat a protein bar? Chances are that protein bar has more bad in it than good. So even if you are knowingly eating healthy, you might not be, which is scary because you're trying. Mind you, all these people that I was talking about before who are eating irregularly and not eating very health conscious, who knows what their body is operating off? Food truly is fuel. And I love food. I love food probably more than you love food. Okay. I love a good food. I love a good food. Jesus Christ. I love a good meal. I am a snacker. I want to eat like 8 meals a day. I eat a lot and I eat good. And when I say good, I don't mean just clean and healthy. I mean, I eat good, okay? I want to make sure that my meals are entertaining. They are fun. Am I a foodie? I don't know what I would classify myself as, but I love food, okay? But the main thing for me is that I need to make sure that the meals that I am eating are giving my body what it needs to function well, not just to look good, to feel good, and to be healthy in the long run. I don't want to find out that I've been eating something for decades that might give me colon cancer. I don't want to find out that I'm eating, there's a fly. I don't want to find out that I'm eating something every single day that I didn't even realize that isn't even necessary in the food and is also harming my body. That's not fair to my body. My body's trying its hardest every day and I'm feeding it garbage. What is that? That's not to say that I don't eat unhealthy sometimes. I mean, I downed like almost a whole pizza by myself last night from Pizza Pizza, and also half a tub of Ben and Jerry's, Netflix and chilled. I hadn't tried that flavor before. It is baller. But that's 20% of my time. The other 80% of my time, I'm making sure that I'm giving myself the nutrients that I need to function well and to feel good in my body. The next pillar, physical activity. Physical activity is so unbelievably important. We are in an era now where we are such sedentary beings. We're driving everywhere. We drive to work. We sit in our desk. We type for 8 to 12 hours. We get back in our car. We come home. We're so exhausted that maybe we stand for like 20 minutes and then we sit on our couch and watch TV until we go to bed. There's not a lot of standing in our days for the most part. I mean, depending on your job, maybe you do a lot of moving for your work. I know I do now that I'm a PT, but still I find days where I'm like, oh God, I need to move. Like I have been standing still for too long. I've been sitting still for too long. It's not good. You don't need to be an athlete to prioritize exercise. You don't need to have physique goals to prioritize exercise. You don't need to have a weight loss goal to prioritize exercise. Maybe you are perfectly happy with your body, which I hope that you are at any stage that you're at. And you might feel like, well, I don't need to exercise. I'm perfect the way I am. Heck yes, you are. However, you should still exercise. Physical activity is more important than the way that you look and the way that you present. Physical activity will benefit you mentally. It'll release good endorphins and dopamine. It'll make you happier. Physical activity makes your heart stronger. Physical activity lowers your blood pressure. Physical activity may elongate your life. I'm saying may because who knows, but it may. Physical activity ensures that you have healthy skeletal muscle. Physical activity ensures that your bone density is at a healthy level, especially for women that are approaching menopause or in perimenopause. We start losing our bone density. This is something that girls don't know until too late. We all go through menopause. I will go through menopause someday. I will live a third of my life in menopause. You will live a third of your life in menopause. Did you know that your bone density starts to deteriorate? We lose bone. We're going to lose bone density due to our lack of estrogen as we go through hormonal changes. The way that we can combat this is by strength training, whether you want to look a certain way or not. This is important. Maintaining healthy skeletal muscle to support your bones and joints long term is important. Healthy skeletal muscle isn't just about looking shredded all the time. It's about contributing to a healthy metabolism. It's about your mobility. It's about so much more. If you're a man and you're listening to this and you're like, I don't care about menopause, what's in it for me? Strength training improves your brain health and improves your mental health. It'll aid your metabolism and it helps balance your testosterone levels, which has direct impact on your mood. Strength training is important, and I could go into every single different category of training, but we'll save that for another episode. Just trust me that physical activity is so important. I'm finally sipping my tea because I'm getting heated. The last subcategory of the first pillar of health is sleep. Again, I want to do a whole other episode on sleep because I think that sleep is so discarded. We just don't care enough about it. I think we're all just so convinced that other things are more important or that we can operate off of less sleep than we can. And I think that we're lying to ourselves. We're lying to ourselves. We need to sleep. In the gym community on social media, I often see people posting, worked an overnight shift, operating off of like 4 hours of sleep in the last 48 hours, still hitting leg day though. And while I can respect the hustle, I cannot respect what you are about to do to your body. I often see people cutting into their sleep to finish their report, cutting into their sleep to finish their work assignments, cutting into their sleep just to frickin' scroll on social media. For frick's sake, man. I'm trying not to swear, but it's really hard. We need sleep. Women need on average 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Men need on average 6 to 8 hours every night. Depending on who you are as an individual, you might need less or more than that. However, you need to be honest with yourself, because if you think that you thrive off of 3 or 4 hours of sleep, do you really? Do you really? Are you really feeling like you're functioning your best? Are you really feeling like your brain is processing the best that it can? Are you really feeling like you are recovering between every day? I don't think so. I think you're lying to yourself. And I know that not all of us have the privilege of having a consistent sleep schedule. Back when I used to work in film full time, my sleep was all over the place because some days I'd work nights, some days I'd work days, some days I'm out at work at like 3:45 in the morning, some days I don't start until 8 in the morning. It was all over the place. My dad's a shift worker. One day he's going to work at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The next day he's going to work at 3 in the morning. It's all over the place. However, if you're in a position like that, where you're in a career or in a position where you cannot control when you go to sleep, you can control how you sleep, and you can make sure that your body knows when it's time to shut down. There's a lot of things that you can do to make sure that while you are sleeping, you are getting the most rest that you can. A lot of times we are practicing poor sleep hygiene. We're taking that time to rest and go to sleep. Maybe we do get 6 hours of sleep, but it's not good sleep. And that sucks. That sucks. We're not setting ourselves up for the next day. We're not setting ourselves up to recover from whatever we did today. I think now that I've been out of film for the most part for over a year, I am such a picky person about my sleep. I know that if I don't get at least 6 or 7 hours of sleep, I am a mess tomorrow. And I refuse to do that to myself. That's not fair to myself. I can already feel myself tomorrow feeling like a fried egg. And I don't want to do that to myself. I will make sure that I will get enough sleep. Because tomorrow I want to lift heavy things. Tomorrow I have a lot of stuff to get done. So I'm going to make sure that I am mentally and physically prepared to do that. And sleep is one of the most important things. So if you guys are interested in doing a whole other episode on sleep, if you're struggling with your sleep routine, with poor sleep hygiene, if you don't know what to do, I would love to do an episode on that specifically, because I know that that is such a huge struggle for a lot of people. And it's not encouraged either. It's like people will literally rave about how little sleep they've had. They're like, yeah, bro, only slept for 2 hours last night, but that's cool. It's not cool. It's not cool. Now that I am fired up, we're going to get into mental health. Mental health is divided into 2 subcategories. The first category is behavioral health. This is how you manage yourself and your behavior and your emotions. This is how you manage your anxiety, your stress, the things that you're feeling inside, those big emotions, those big feelings. How are you behaving? How are you managing them? Even if I am eating clean 100% of the time, I am running, I'm strength training, I'm stretching, I'm taking care of my body physically, but I am so high strung that I can't even breathe for a second without being on the verge of a panic attack. Do you think that I am healthy? Do you think that I'm healthy? No, No, I've obviously got something to work on. I need to figure out how I can manage all of these things on my plate. I need to figure out if I need to take a switch. I mean, last week's episode was on burnout, and we talked about all of these things. We talked about maybe taking some things off of your plate because that is okay. We talked about arranging your life so that you are not so stressed out all the time, because stress, while it is helpful sometimes as a natural instinct, sometimes helpful, I know that I work better under stress, which is probably my most toxic trait. I will wait until the very last second to do something because I feel like I'm on fire when I have a deadline that is only 30 minutes away. But I know that that's not good for me. That is not good for me. And feeling that heightened amount of stress and almost guilt too, almost guilt because I left that for myself. That's not good for me. So if you are finding that you are not able to manage the things happening in your life, if you're feeling stressed all the time, if you're feeling sad all the time, if you're feeling like you can't manage your emotions and like your emotions are consistently bad, you might want to look at what's on your plate and if you want to eat it or not. Because maybe you don't want to eat it all. Maybe there's some things that can go or be delegated or could be put off to a later date when you are more equipped to handle it and when it'll actually serve you. The second pillar of mental health is your connection with others. We are social beings. We are social creatures. And I need to remind myself of that every single day. I am so content being by myself, being alone, not lonely, but alone. I'm very content with being alone for the most part. I love my friends. I love my partner. I love my family, but I am very content at just being by myself and doing my thing. I think a lot of people think I'm an extrovert. I don't think I'm an extrovert. I think I can be an extrovert for a certain amount of time, and then I sink right back into my little introverted ways. However, like I said before, I am fine with being alone. I am not fine with being lonely. There's a difference. We need to feel connected to other people. You don't want to feel like you don't have an attachment with somebody, like you don't have a support system. So even if you feel like you are really fine with being by yourself most of the time, if you live alone, if you just moved to a new city and you're starting from scratch, I think that it's really important to seek out that connection and seek out that support. My best friend lives pretty close to me, but we almost never see each other because we're out working. We are out hustling. But if I ever need her, I know that she's there. And if she ever needs me, she knows that I am here. We're both in the city by ourselves. We don't have family here. So I feel very fortunate that I've established this connection with her in the last couple years and that like we have each other's back no matter what. So even if I spend most of my time alone, even if I only see her once a month, I know I'm not alone. I think that we're tricked by social media. We think that because we are constantly liking and commenting, or other people are liking and commenting on our things, that we have a really advanced social circle. But I think that there's a difference between that and true connection with people. And I think that that is something that we should not abandon no matter how advanced we get. Now we're advancing into social health, the last pillar. Social health is divided into 5 subcategories. I'm just going to fire them out and then we're going to go over them all together, okay? Number 1, environmental wellness. Number 2, spiritual wellness. Number 3, intellectual wellness. Number 4, vocational wellness. And number 5, financial wellness. I think all 5 of these really resonate with me. If you remember what I said in the beginning when I was talking about the things that I pictured in terms of health, I think they all kind of fall into these categories. I think environmental wellness, yeah, it's so important. Surrounding yourself with good people, with good connections. Maybe it could actually be environmental wellness. Maybe it's taking time out of your week to go spend time in a green space. If you live in a really urban setting, it's really important to be around green things and real earth things. It's really important for us. It's been proven that it calms us. We need it. Even if you're not an outdoorsy person, just go find like a park in your neighborhood and like just look at a leaf. Just try to connect with your environment. And yeah, make sure that you're surrounded by good good, strong connections. Spiritual wellness. This looks different for a lot of people, whether you are a religious person or not. I think that could either be your connection with your faith, or like I said before, that connection and that attachment with yourself. If you're not necessarily a spiritual person, or even if you are, you want to feel connected with yourself or your higher being and really take care of that connection. I just felt tea all over my lap. Oh, man, I haven't even drank all of it. I've just been yipping. Oh, man. Intellectual wellness. So learning new things, practicing the things that you know, expanding your knowledge, reading, absorbing new things. We have this incredible ability as human beings to be learning forever. And we have access to so many things at our fingertips: books, articles, websites, videos. Expand your knowledge, pick up a new hobby, try new things, keep it creative, right? Keep stimulating your brain. I personally have too many hobbies to count. I have so much yarn. I have instruments. I have a sewing machine that I haven't touched in so long. I feel like I have too many things that I'm interested in doing and not enough hours in the week. But it's important sometimes to just pick something up and challenge yourself with something new. I don't know, get a puzzle. Try to draw your dog. Pick up a book and learn about something new. There's so many things that you can do to challenge yourself intellectually and stay sharp. And also it brings me joy when I learn new things. Do you ever feel that? Like when you learn something new, you're like, oh man, I'm capable. Or, oh man, I feel like, not that I'm more valuable, but like I have like more to talk about. I have more to bring to the table. I have a new ability. I can do something more now. I think that that's really cool. And there's like a sense of pride to that. Maybe you meet somebody new through your newfound hobby or through your newfound interest. There's so many possibilities through focusing on your intellectual wellness. I think that is something that is really, really, really important. Vocational wellness. This is something that relates again. Like I said, I want to feel fulfilled and purposeful in what I do. And maybe what I do is bringing in money, or maybe it's a nonprofit, or maybe it's volunteering, but it's just feeling fulfilled and purposeful in the work that you do. I think the way that I can relate to this is like when I used to work in film, sure, I loved it. I still do it sometimes. I had a great time. However, I found that 9 times out of 10, I would go home and feel like I didn't do anything with my day. Even if I was at work for 16 hours, I just felt like that was cool, I guess. That was fun. Nothing went wrong. But like I didn't feel necessarily satisfied with myself. And I think that when I started coaching, I really felt that. When I started spending more time in the gym and knowing that what I was doing was maybe the best part of somebody else's day, that made me feel good. Maybe that sounds selfish, but I knew, I was like, this is what I want to do, because I want to come home every day and feel like I impacted someone in a positive way. You know, I feel enriched. I think that that's really important. And I think that if you are feeling like you are not satisfied with your job or with your place at work or the tasks you have at hand, maybe there's some things you can nudge around and find a way that you can feel that sense of enrichment again. I nudged myself into a whole other industry. The last subcategory is financial wellness. And this is a big one. I think financial stress has a massive, massive impact on our overall mental and physical well-being. I think that the fear of running out of money or the fear of not being able to pay our bills can be so great. And I've been there. I sometimes still am there. I have been so rocked over the last couple years that now I'm trying to rewire my brain. I'm like, hey, you're okay. Everything's okay, right? Because I've been taking time and effort to really make sure that I am setting myself up with the skills that I need to be financially healthy. That doesn't mean rich by any sense. I don't even know if I want to be rich. What does rich even mean? I feel like right now I am rich because I have good physical health and I'm surrounded by good people and I am not starving. I think I am rich, but I think financial health is really, really important. I'm currently working on saving a 3-month emergency fund because that'll make me feel really secure to know that, God forbid, I get injured and can't work or something happens, I have 3 months on standby. that's really, really important to me. And I think that learning about money is really, really scary. I think that we are not told everything that we need. And if you're a new listener or you don't know me personally, I'm 22. I'm learning a lot of this stuff in real time. I mean, I was recently just on Credit Karma going, I am eligible for this card, apply. I'm eligible for this card, apply, not knowing that they're doing hard credit checks and that affects my credit score. I would have loved to know that before I did it, but I didn't know. And so here I am, just like, boop, down another couple points, boop. Learning is really hard, but I think it's worth it. We really need to take control of our finances, and some things can be tricky. I mean, thankfully, I have not been in a position where I'm bankrupt or have an addiction or anything that could really impede on my financial wellness. But I think that it's really, really important to know what's going on with our finances and know how to make the system work for us, because I think that it could really easily work against us if we let it. After talking about all of this, do you think that these things align with your original vision of health? I think that they do. I think that they align with mine. I think that health is so broad, and I think that it can't be determined by one factor. I hate when I see things on social media that are like, eat this if you want to be healthy, eat this. I think that it's relying on you not knowing better. It's relying on you being easily impressionable. I think that health is a lot more than what you look like. I think it's a lot more than what exercise you choose to do. I think it's a lot more than whether you have olive oil or avocado oil in your salad dressing, or if you cook with butter or ghee. There's so many more pieces to this puzzle that you can't, health is not black and white, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that as long as you are doing your best in all of these 5 pillars, and you're taking the time to slow down and check in with yourself, and you have your goals aligned, then I would consider you a healthy person, even if you're still working on a lot of these things. I hope you found this episode helpful. I hope you enjoyed this conversation we had this week. I hope you've enjoyed your cup of coffee. My tea is now too cold. I really enjoyed talking to you guys this week. This was fun. I got pretty heated, but I'm feeling good now. My tea's cold, and it's also all over my sweatpants, but I hope you enjoyed your coffee or your tea or your snack, and I can't wait until next week. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below what you think of this conversation or things that you want to talk about in the future. And you can hit the notification button if you want to be notified every time an episode drops. If you're on Spotify, make sure to rate the show, whatever you think. I won't pressure you to leave a 5-star, but I would really appreciate it if you left a 5-star. And same thing, like the show, drop a comment. It'll really help us grow. We're just starting out here, so anything helps. And that's been episode 3 of Building You. I'll see you next week. Bye.